But e-gaming is something that we've been speaking about quite regularly, Neil. I remember I used to watch clips maybe 10 years ago on YouTube, and it would blow me away. Why am I watching a clip on YouTube of someone watching someone else play a video game?
True.
And I was thinking, is this strange, or is this going to be the normal in the future?
Well, I mean, see, the normal is now, and it's happening literally. And how, back in the days, I remember to play a video game, I had to finish my homework, plan my studies in advance, set my books apart for the next day, and then get half an hour of video game time.
Well, I'm a dinosaur because I remember I had parents tell me you'll never make a living out of playing video games, right? And how wrong I was. To get more details on the fact that the Blast Premier World Final is going to be running at the Etihad Arena on Yas Island from the 14th of December. It's 8 of the world's best esports organisations. There's the World Final Trophy, but to get more details about this, we're joined by Charlotte Kenny, the Managing Director of Blast. Thank you very much for coming in to Talk 100.3.
Thank you so much for having me. Really great to be with you guys.
Were you a gamer growing up?
I was not a gamer.
What are you doing?
I was the one watching my brothers and sisters
Of
gaming.
course.
I couldn't get anywhere near the console. They were all the way across it, so I was the cheerleader in the back.
Watching on.
Wow, and see, this is what happens. When you watch the games and you don't play the games, you set up gaming tournaments and invite people to win $1 million, isn't it?
Exactly.
Right?
I'm more the mastermind behind the tactics of the players and the tournament.
So your fate forged your path from an early age.
Absolutely.
Now the lineup has been confirmed. How have we got the teams and players competing? What's been the process to get to these final teams?
So that throughout the whole season and the year, there's a series of events that we have. There's a spring final that will be the culmination of activities that culminates in a spring final tournament that took place in Lisbon earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
Then we do the same for the fall final period. There's 3 months of tournament activities, and it's a knockout stage. And then those teams get qualified, and it's 8 of the best that have competed on the circuit throughout the year that get to play in the Etihad Arena and get the chance at $1 million.
That is amazing, $1 million. But then I've heard that some of the teams that are not really participating but are still flying down for a showdown game.
Yes, so obviously we can't be in the Middle East and not have all of the best talent in this particular region and not try and do some show match with our competing. So we know that there's a huge amount of following from the Middle East as well, and Banderita, the Falcons, there's lots of Enigma Galaxy, there's lots of different teams locally that are now going to get the chance to play on our world final stage in the show match competition beforehand.
It is a huge event. As we said, 8 of the world's best esports organisations are going to be here for that $1 million prize pool. I'm still new to this. So let me just sit here and ask the stupid questions. What are the age of most of the competitors that are performing?
It can depend. Some of the teams can start at 16, 17. They can go up to people that are in their later 30s, early 40s. Maybe I'm not supposed to say that they're at the top end of the region, but Counter-Strike particularly has been a game that's been around for 20 years. Yeah. And everyone says it's going to lose its appeal. Well, it doesn't. We're getting youngsters that are coming through and playing this, and we haven't lost that original dinosaur generation, if you don't mind me using the term.
Go for it.
That everyone that played growing up has still kept that piece. So it's hard to give you an age range. It really depends on the team roster.
And now, are you finding it like most sports, does age help you with experience? Are you seeing the tactics that older players tend to be more wily or younger players tend to have faster muscle fibres? Is it the same correlation with traditional sports?
What's incredible is when you see how much data wearable technology has gone into football and cricket and different things, people think that sort of technology isn't happening in esports, but it 100% is. So there are studies that universities are doing that are checking the clickability and the retina movements of players real time, also then tracking their decision making and their speed to be able to react as a team and then individual. So if you think about all the tech points that you can get when you're wearing a device on football, and then see how much camera technology goes into esports, it's exactly the same data and metrics that's being applied. It's incredible.
This is amazing, because the other day I was at a class where I was talking about technology in sport, and one of the students asked me about esport. He said that the sport is completely based on technology. And we went into a conversation where we spoke about are the matrix of every individual player who's playing in esport measured, and if they are measured, does a player get disqualified for playing within the team or does not get a seat in the team because he's not as quick as the other? And that conversation went so deep, and I'm glad that you're talking about it right now.
I think the interesting thing on the teams is that they'll all have different roles. So a bit like traditional sport, you're going to have somebody that'll be much more on the attacking, someone that's much more on the communication side, and there'll be somebody that's more on the defensive part. And that's exactly the same in this esports. So it isn't always about speed. There'll be measures on accuracy. There'll be definitely measures on communication. And if you think about it, on the Counter-Strike, those 5 players are communicating with each other on tactics constantly. So there's a lot of different things that people can do. It's not just speed, but it's the culmination of all of those that makes the team successful.
Now, for anyone who does want to get down there across the weekends, we know it is the Blast Premier World Final, but there's also an opportunity like for meet and greet, and there's a lot of networking that's going on as well, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely, because esports and gaming is fairly new in certain areas, but we bring on these global tournaments, but do it much more than just being a competitive tournament. So there'll be all sorts of different gaming and education pieces. So if Counter-Strike's not your game, but you're more interested in full, FIFA, there's all, I don't want to say FIFA because the World Cup right now, England is still very sad about our losses, but there's all sorts of different games. We have all of the game developers that will be there and showcasing some of their pieces. We're also going to have some education stands, so if people are interested in knowing more about how to get into esports, all the different career opportunities, if you need to go back to tell your family how you could make $1 million from playing computer games and video games, then there's info there for sure.
Well, the lesson happened to my dad because I don't have any, mum and dad don't have any grandkids, much to the pressure I keep getting. So they kind of adopted this 9-year-old boy who's next door, and I get the phone calls from dad going, the kid came in from next door, he's doing this, you heard of this thing called Fortnite? And I'm like, yeah, and they can make money out of this. I'm like, yeah, to see, I was playing Super Mario Brothers, Dad, could have been a millionaire. But for anyone who wants to be a part of it, I mean, it's a long day, it's 2 or 3 in the afternoon it starts,
yes,
and then you've got semi-finals, and it's like a huge rock concert if you want to get down there.
It is, and somebody said to me before, how would you describe esports? And I would honestly say that it's a competitive tournament meets a rock concert. Yeah. That's the best way you can describe it, because the production qualities and the show that we put on is phenomenal. So doors will open at 12, but there'll be all sorts of gaming activities and events for everyone to get involved in beforehand. Then the competitive programme starts at 2 o'clock, and it's best of 3 matches. So if it's like some of the FIFA World Cup games that we've seen, then there'll be a pretty quick 90 minutes. Otherwise, quite a lot of them can go into extra time and penalties. But
yes,
we'll see.
What is the deadlock? Does the match go on?
It's best of 3, and it's until that there is we have an allotted time for how far it can go on. But there's extra time penalties and potentially then some real decision makers. So it will go until the right team wins.
I'm excited.
I'm super excited. Now tell me something. Middle East is literally a playground for everything that you want to bring in over here. We've seen a lot of Club World Cups being played here. Alain, Abu Dhabi, for Dubai. We saw Cricket World Cup being played here. Now esports coming in. What do you see the landscape in Middle East and the growth of esports here?
I think what's phenomenal when we look at all the data is how much of the esports market is already established here, and that's perhaps not known internationally. You would think mostly that Europe, and there's a little bit of population in North America, but in the Middle East, 9 out of 10 adults already are playing games regularly, and regularly means more than once a week for 30 minutes. So there is a huge population and demographic here. Whether you're a fan of Counter-Strike or Fortnite or other titles, people are playing in their spare time, whether they've done the homework or they've put the kids to bed and then they're having a bit of time to chill. This is a huge region, and it's growing year on year. So we're really excited to be able to capitalise on this, bring our tournament here and just get everybody involved. Local thing is the key thing. Yeah,
it's massive. And I think actually the weather has something to do with it. 3 months of the year, over the summer months, it gives you the opportunity to be
stay indoors.
Lends itself to it. So it's got on this weekend. If you still want to get, there are some tickets available if you want to get them through Platinum List.
There is quite limited availability, but we're still on sale. So hurry down quick if you want to be involved.
Well, it's the Blast Premier World Final in 2022 in Abu Dhabi. There's a huge gaming experience, but it's not just an opportunity for you to watch it. There's also networking. There's a whole raft of opportunities. It's 8 of the world's best esports organisations playing out for the $1 million prize pool. Charlotte Kenny, the Managing Director of Blast, thank you very much for coming into the studio, and good luck with the event this weekend.
Thank you.
You're on TSB.